And the artificial intellect want to prevail humanity, and we observe exactly such a situation, that humanity, most of humans, degraded at very strong extent. Many people even cannot return to their normal state of life, although they need to expand their consciousness, their energy possibilities, and thus go with the programs of technologies, artificial intellect, and all the process of the evolution. So, if you will ask me, is it good or not, the artificial intellect and all these new technologies? First, of course, to answer this deeply, we need to talk about social processes and politics. But I'm a scientist, I'm a researcher, I'm a person who are engaged in the development of people. So I'm not the politician and I will never be such a person. Although I realize very clearly what is this artificial intelligence. So today I want to talk to developed people, those people who nevertheless, whatever happens, they work on themselves, on their inner state, they read, they practice in meditations, create their life, start their new businesses, activities, new processes of improving life. So our today's broadcast and in general my activity are aimed at helping those people who want to live their happy and conscious life and also want to improve the lives of other people on the planet. And someday I told you that in the evil there is a drop of goodness, and at the same time in the goodness there is a drop of the evil. So when we will look into the artificial intelligence, we will see that at the one hand it's a good process. It can bring some benefits to people because it can help humanity to avoid very hard physical work. And I know that in the internet there is a lot of information about this, that many robots technologies really improve the life of humanity on our planet. And of course, if humans also went the same process of the progress and developed very actively, they could have very great results and receive the benefits from technologies. And today I will explain you what will happen in the future. But on the other hand, at the same time, there is some point not so good that connects to their artificial intelligence. There are so many people who can direct these new technologies to improve in their life, and at the same time they will develop themselves. Because in principle we see the possibilities of these new technologies, and artificial intelligence is in principle uh, new programs. And now these programs are most of all are destructive matrix programs. Although this intelligence can be programmed to be creative or constructive, and now we know that there are programs that can write some creative um, things, texts, paintings, and in the nearest future you will see that technical progress will reach such a high level that very soon you will not be able to define where is robot and where is a human being. So we will see a lot of new processes in our society, and that there's artificial intelligence will be engaged almost in all life areas and activities of humans. And now, a social activity of people introduce these technologies of artificial intelligence. But my friends, these programs, this technology of artificial intellect, this is the program and technology that cannot be connected to the highest source of life. Although people, humans, as the divine creatures, can connect to the higher level of energy and information. This is the source of life that possess the highest possibilities of life and energies and knowledge. So people in the right development process can reach the higher level, much higher than this artificial intelligence. So when you see the prophecy about the future, about these new technologies and new opportunities, where the people who are not developed will go, what will happen to people who have a very narrow mental activity, only at 2%, because they cannot expand this and develop more, because they have the damaged brain, infected and poisoned with many poisonous and chemical substances. What will happen with people who are game abusers, who just play in video games day and night? How this artificial intelligence will interact with such destructive and undeveloped people? This is the question that you need to ask yourself now. And now there are a lot of documentaries and scientific video on the internet what future life we will have. And believe me, it's also true, I also have such information, that the future life will be much more progressive and at very high level. But most of people who now don't want to work, to be active, don't want to learn, develop, work on themselves, reveal their energy abilities, they will not be able to live at these stages of life. They will not even survive these new changes of our life on the planet. And people had to realize this in even earlier. And remember when I told you 5 or 10 years ago that the time has come for the selection of people, selection of their souls. So now the time has come on our planet only for people who are developing, who are conscious, who are striving to the right understanding of life, to the new uh, priorities, processes of life, who lead the healthy lifestyle. And now you maybe saw the information that now everything will be based on the healthy lifestyle and ecological processes in every area of our life. And even now you see that many laws in different countries are aimed at such a process to change the lives processes to the healthier. But we see that most of people on the earth are not to realize this and to accomplish these processes, introduce this into their lives. So, of course, we see and realize that such people are far away from these new technologies and artificial intelligence. But people who are developed, who will be able to survive and overcome the final flash of the quantum transition, final wave of the cosmic energy, of course, they will be able to survive and also to expand their possibility. Now, we see that such people are more sensitive, they are more conscious, they understand and accept everything that is happening on the planet, and they try to build their right model and path of their life, process of life, that help them to adapt to the new processes of life, of the new world, where these new technologies and artificial intelligence will help people in life. And it's true, friends, that many years ago I really received the information that could help people in this stage of life. And 10 years ago, I explained this process that we are now observing. And when I'm telling some new information about the future now these people, my learners, have no doubts. And when I explain them that the future, this is the world of the new possibilities and new technologies await humanity. So not only the artificial intelligence will be visible and possible for people. Yes, it will help humanity, but also people themselves will stay alive. Only those who are now developing, who are now engaged in their spiritual development and work on themselves and reveal their true energy abilities. They now are working, striving to the new processes. They are active. So these are special people, are not the lazy people who just are sitting and waiting for some free benefits. They realize that to take something for free, it means that they can receive these possibilities only from dark forces. So those people who are active, they realize these processes, and even the rulers of this world really tell that the time has accelerated, that the amount of hours in every day were decreased. So after the completion of the quantum transition, today I can tell you for the first time that every day will consist of 12 hours. And due to what processes? Due to the accelerated movement of quantum particles. And it will allow people to become more active. And if you will look at our children who are born at this age, we see that their brain, their mind works much actively, much faster. It means that they are more adapted to the new stage of life. And now let's talk about our future. And people who understand the nature of a human being, humans, the nature of the creator, at least at some extent, because the nature of the creator is so great, so multifaceted that for humans, for a human mind and understanding, impossible to realize, because this is much limited state of human mind. So such a level of higher mind you can understand only when you will reach your new stages of evolution, and you can explain and understand your mental activity only with the help of language, words. So now there are people who revealed their mental activity, their mind at 10%, 15, 20%, and people who are psychics have exactly the revealed state of mind at 20%. They have increased energy and they possess high vibrational energy, and exactly this energy potential, powerful energy, reveals in them extrasensory abilities, clairvoyance, intuition, higher sensitivity, dissipation, and other. So now let's talk about the artificial intelligence, how much it is important in your spiritual development. My friends, you were born on this planet to fill your life with your experience. And you gain this experience through your work. And the experience that you gain in different stages, first at levels, then when you are raised and development, then you receive more developed, advanced experience. And technologies help you in this. And the artificial intelligence also could help you in this. And now it seems that it helps. But we see that many people have not enough experience, very valued experience, and we see the process of their life, their results, that are the indicator of their development. And when they don't want to work, don't want to learn, we see their undeveloped state. And people were accustomed to be lazy, and the system created for them many games, video games, and other pleasures, entertainments. So many people really lost their connection with the true life, true natural processes. So we can say that they stopped in the state of development and they don't expand their intellectual, mental abilities, and they can receive more expanded possibilities to realize themselves. So, to play in video games, of course, it's much easier for them. They realize their potential in these games. But of course, this artificial intelligence, all these games will not allow them to receive valued experience, more expanded and developed experience on this planet. And all people who are born on this planet, you're born only to receive your experience. It means that you reveal your soul, your creative force of the creator within yourself through your experience, through your work, through your learning, development. So you're born on this planet only with this purpose. So when you expand your possibilities and you have gained some primitive experience of hard work, physical work, different sufferings, more primitive hard experience, then your consciousness are expanding and your mind, your mental activity starts to decipher and to process higher energy vibrations that carries higher and more advanced energy and information. When I tell you about the energy, you should know that at the same time I tell about information, because energy and information are united. This is one system. So the expanded consciousness opens the ability to receive energy information from the higher pure source. And it is proven by the science. You even should not check this. And the explanation to this is the torsion fields. Maybe you learned and heard this term, this information. So the torsion field is exactly this high pure source of energy and information. So the developed person can connect to this pure higher field of energy and information. And all scientists who studied, discovered the quantum physics, torsion fields, and wireless electricity, quantum particles, many scientists and developed people, spiritual developed people, can receive energy information from the higher pure source. And what does it mean, pure source? It means that this energy information field that does not have the matrix programs. So the matrix, this is low vibrational energy informational field. But the higher pure source, this is the state and the energy, the force of the higher mind, the creator or God. You can call it differently. So this is the source of life that create everything, and everything consists, everything in the cosmos is the part of this source of life. And then Such a person receiving this high vibrational, very powerful and pure energy can uses this to implement and shape his own reality. Maybe you saw the feature movie Lucy, a French movie, when the main character, the girl, revealed her mind to the 100%. So this film shows you approximately that it is possible that this higher mind exists in every person. It means that energy information, this pure source, exists in everyone, and that you also is the part of everything. So the scientists also concluded these processes that we are one system, that are the parts of the higher mind. So, of course, these new technologies, the artificial intelligence and robots and nanotechnologies, they should help people, but to aspiring, developing people. And I can tell you from my own experience that when you are engaged in some constructive activities, when you work with other people, teach them, or write books, of course, you have no time to make some housework, and it is better to have some vacuum cleaner that can clean your house itself. But when we give technologies to undeveloped people who live in a savage state of mind, so they don't need to have these technologies. They need to uh, really work hard, and thus they will strive to some advanced processes of life and activity. When they will expand their mind, they will learn, and then they will possess the new abilities in life and new technologies through new experience and knowledge. So, of course, their artificial intelligence will not give the pure information. And this is the serious problem that the artificial intelligence can give some information to people, but not from the higher pure source of life. And why? Because this technology connects to the program network of the matrix system. And friends, even if you don't believe in this, it's true. And this is really the danger for humanity. And many scientists who create this, who are working on improving and creating this artificial intelligence, different neural networks, they really concluded that it can create danger, many dangerous processes for people. And it's not in vain that there are so many uh, movies that show that robots started to attack humanity, want to enslave humanity. And I can tell you that such an option of the future really exists because humans, most of humanity, most of people became at very low level of development. And technologies really are at the higher level, higher than humans. So, of course, bad and destructive processes have some connection with the technical progress because human and their mental activity and spiritual development, I mean energy development, should be at the same level of development with technologies. But we don't see such processes. We see that these technologies uh, really surpassed the development of humans. And when recently I talked with my learner, and when I told that uh, people need to work on their thoughts, and when she tried to explain to her friend that she need to work on her thoughts, she told, stopped, don't tell me about this. And in principle, she said that don't tell me about the most important thing that she should know. Because, friends, psychology. and psychologists know that every person sees and perceives the world only on the basis of their programs, mental programs. And you can even carry out such an experiment in your life. For example, when you will tell one of your family member if he has blonde hair, and then you will tell that now he has the brown hair. If one person will tell him this, another person and many other family members, then of course he will be surprised and shocked. But after one week, for example, he will look at himself in the mirror and he will see that he has the brown hair. Yes, friends, it's true, it really works. And you can see about such an experiment on the internet. And people just were deluded. Just several people told the person that something changed in him. And then he started to see this in himself. So this is the work of the information. So if you're denied to work with your mental programs, with your thoughts, it means that you deny to control your reality and yourself. But the artificial intelligence works exactly with the information. So the artificial intelligence does not deny to do this because he works on the basis of the programs that are in the human minds. And robots with this artificial intelligence, they work on the basis of the neural processes, work of the brain neurons of humans. So, but only people don't want to think about their mental activity, their brain, their mind. Even when people have professions and speciality, they have some work and activity, but they don't have the uh, right understanding, right thinking. So when we tell someone that you need to work on your thinking, mental activity, it means that you need to remove destructive thoughts because now there is the quantum transition on the planet, and it intensifies all thoughts and the reality of your life because the thought um, creates makes your thoughts true, makes the reality. But there are people who live even worse. And when you ask such people, how do you live? How are you living? They said, um, I'm okay. I'm live a normal life. When you will ask, what does it mean that everything is normal? He will say, I'm at home. I watch TV. And what are you doing? Um, I don't know. And how are you doing? I'm okay. And that's all. So we cannot call such a person a developed person. But when you will ask any question to the artificial intelligence, it will give you a clearly and precise answer. So even in this, we see that this artificial intellect really surpassed the human development. So where it will lead and what is the danger is in it for humanity? There are so many processes in the future when this artificial intelligence can prevail and enslave humanity. And even those scientists who are working on creating these technologies, they also know about this danger. But as I told you that I'm not a politician, I'm a teacher, I'm developing people, their thinking, their mind and consciousness. So I really want so that people are developed and so that they can aim this new technologies and artificial intelligence to improve in their life so that it will help humanity and not to control and suppress humanity. But of course, observing such people who are completely don't have any self improvement, self cognition, self development, I understand that they will not be able to get over and survive in the nearest hardships and changes in life. Even now, they don't want to do anything to develop and to act. And I can tell you that such people really live their last lives, their final incarnations, and they will not be able to enter into the new world of new technologies, new possibilities, because their people will really careful to their health, to their body. They will not poison themselves, and they will lead a very healthy lifestyle. So the world will change a lot. Now you even cannot imagine how much. I see these changes as the information. So people uh, who are creating these processes, they also tell that we cannot stop these processes of changes. But now we need to help humanity to very seriously start the process of development. And of course, we need to focus only on this, and we need to accelerate the human development. And I can tell you that people make their own choice because no one forces an alcoholic person to drink this alcohol. He does it himself. And for me, this is a very strong sadness because I also feel this pity and sadness for people who now lead a destructive lifestyle. Yes, they live very primitive, very earthly, and hard lives, and they even in their thoughts don't think something better. They don't have the desire to have a better life, and of course they don't want to expand their consciousness. They live like just in one moment. They only want to take more now at this moment. I only now want to feel better. Now I will drink and I feel better, and then I don't think what will be then. So people stopped to think about the future, to dream of the future. It means that they stopped to create the future. And at this period, when there is the quantum transition on the planet, when the thought accelerated and intensified in realizing reality, creating reality, shaping the future. But they don't want anything else, most of the people, especially when you ask them, how are you doing? And I'm okay, okay, and that's all. I live a normal life. So, so there are a lot of people who live in small cities, in small villages, and at cities, people are more developed, they're more educated, but at small villages, more people are drinking alcohol and take drugs, so they destroy themselves. They live in complete degradation. So when I think about this, how can we help these people? But they make their own choice because they could not do this. They could study, they can read books and listen to some lectures because there is knowledge in the world. So I have a great desire to share this knowledge as well. But they don't want to have this knowledge, to know them. So, of course, such an attitude to life cannot live long because such people will not be able to adapt to the new processes of the reality. Yes, now the cities of the future are building right now, and not only the Japan uh, is doing this, many other countries too. But of course, we understand that there will not be alcoholic and destructive people and drug abusers in the cities. Only people who are developed and strive to the new future. So I also can tell you that only people who think about perspectives, who are very proactive and hardworking specialists and professionals, only they will survive and they will live in the new world. Because if it will be a professor, it will be the best professor. It will be hairdresser or a driver. They also will be the best specialists. And remember, I told you that we will have transports that will not move on the surface, on the ground. They will be moving under the ground. They will be flying on the energy of ether. So now they already existing in Japan. So this is the future processes, future technologies. You can watch this video on the internet about the cities of the future. And I told you about this even 10 years ago. So now it is our reality. And as I told you that all areas of life, all activities will change. Medicine and other processes. So the life process will be very active. So only hardworking and serious people will survive and will live in this new world. So of course, I really want to so that only so that many people will survive and live in this new world. And of course, we need to give birth and to educate our children to live and adapt to this new uh, state of life so that we can improve and create this world much faster. And of course, new technologies will help us in this. And after 10, 50 years, all hard works will be replaced by technologies and robots. And they are already existed. So I want to tell you that all these technologies, inventions, uh, are beneficial for humanity. But people also need to reach the same high level in their development. So we need to stay lower in comparison with these technologies. But again, I want to emphasize that artificial intelligence will never become the child of God, will never be connected to the higher source of life. But humans have such possibilities. And you have all for this knowledge, information, mechanisms, techniques. So you just need to take it and accomplish this. And now I really want you to hear me, to realize all this, and don't put it in a long shelf, but take it and use it. But also can tell you one more thing. When you tell that you are my learners, when you are watching my videos, my live broadcasts for many years, friends, you are my viewers. But when you are starting with me, you know the difference. My learners know the difference when between the starting and watching the video. So friends, now I'm ready to your questions. So the question that is voiced by Sergei Arkadyevich. when we are observing the process of surveillance, it's very similar to the work or of ants on the planet, and can be compared with uh, work of termites that just carrying out very hard works. And the answer, Natalia Rodina. Yes, of course, I can tell that we can compare with this process. So, when we look at many processes of humans, we see that many people really, if we carry out very hard work, they were similar to undeveloped ants. But also can tell you that the rulers of many countries who can manage the people, nations, they don't do anything to develop the people. And we can say that this is a very serious crime because all people are the children of the Creator who have the ability to develop, and they have inside the presence of the higher mind through the state of their souls. And when they are suppressed, enslaved, and they don't develop, of course, they need to be controlled. And now let's remember the history of our planet. We had several periods when humanity had reached a very high level of development. And at some period of time, the very advanced developed spiritual beings from other planets came to the Earth to develop humanity. But some fallen beings who denied the plan of God. In our local system were 37 fallen planets who denied to live according to the laws of God. Of course, such planets were disconnected from the source of life that gives them the energy of life, and they modified themselves to live on another planet. They started to ask the way to survive without this energy of life because they could not generate this energy by themselves. And on our planet, at that time, such a fallen spiritual being was present, Caligastia, and his first assistant, Delegastia, also became fallen because they followed the Lucifer. And they had 60 assistants, and their leader was Nod. And 40 spiritual beings stayed faithful to God, and they gave their own civilization. I mean, fallen beings. But Amadon was the one was the leader of the faithful spiritual beings, and they prepared everything for becoming Adam and Eve, who had to give birth to a new spiritual civilization on the planet. And after these processes that confused all the development on the planet, what happened? When the fallen rulers, because Caligastia was the planetary prince of our planet, and he was registered as the planetary prince of our planet in the system of the universe and our super universe. So he was the ruler of our planet. But when he became fallen and followed the Lucifer, he started to introduce here his fallen laws of the Lucifer. And the main law was divide and rule. So, of course, humanity started to divide and rule, conquer each other, and people really came out of control because at that period of time, humans uh, were not developed. They had only a primitive mind, animal's mind. And of course, they lived in the state of egoism. They wanted to receive more rule and divide power. Many tribes on the planet started to fight with each other. So, such a bloodshed started on the planet that even these fallen alien beings did not expect, and they were shocked because they saw that these people really came out of their control and they did not obey they. So of course these alien beings created a new solution. They created a system, program system that control these savage people, and we call this matrix system. And after these processes, these events, people just started to be connected to this program. And when you saw the feature movie The Matrix, and it was created many years ago, but people did not believe in this. They think that this is the fairy tale, this is the fantasy. But there is some part of true in this film. So people really are uh, born here for development, and you need to evolve, you need to develop and live a happy life because God lives within each of you, and the Creator wants to recognize and Himself in your experience at this material stage of life. But of course, it cannot reveal and manifest itself in such a primitive, narrow state of mind. And people deny this. But of course, the Creator in everyone wants to develop, want to evolve, to become the Creator, kind, open, honest, very active, creative, and developing. But when people reject to do this, to develop themselves, to improve their life, they just stop in their development and stay in this savage state. Even in our 21st century, people say I'm okay and that's all. And it's understandable that there are no other thoughts and mental processes. The neuron work only at a half because a person drinks, poisons himself, smoke or take some chemical substances, eat poisoned food products. Of course, he stays in the state of an animal, he lives on only animal programs. And now, when I observe animals, I see that very often they are wiser than humans. And of course, it surprises. And we understand that it cannot stay alone in such a state. So now, these processes of destruction really mm, has come to the final stage. And many people have passed their selection who made their choice and they live in the abyss and they roll into the abyss and degradation. But there are many people who uh, have the ability to make their choice and to live in this very developed new state of life, to reveal their creative power, open their new abilities, superpowers, to visit other planets, to open the new states of life, new capabilities, and their energy. So people just need to make this choice and to ask these questions to themselves. What do you choose? So, yes, there are people who live like ants, and there are reasons to this, and people should be developed. And even in China, there are such schools that develop in children their extrasensory abilities because they understand everything that is happening, and that children and people who have extrasensory abilities they need to be developed, and they need to direct their abilities to different processes. And I don't want to talk about this because these they aspects that they choose. And the next question: people with expanded consciousness after the quantum transition, will they need the artificial intelligence? Since their artificial intelligence will be present because now it is introducing very seriously after the quantum transition, then humans will be so developed that they will not allow to this artificial intelligence to control them and to control the state of life. It means that people will become more developed and they will manage to control the artificial intelligence. I can tell you that this intelligence will be modified. So it will not serve to the matrix, but it will serve to humanity and will help people in development. And remember, as I told you, that in every process there is evil and goodness. And when I told you about the mechanism practices that I teach you, they also just like the instruments, like the knife, and you can cut the bread with the knife or cut a person, kill a person. So this is the choice of people. That's why in every evil process there is a drop of goodness, and in goodness there is a drop of the evil. Always remember this. But in general, I see that we cannot stop the um, technological progress, but just one very important thing that in the nearest future all the quantum transformations will happen and the fallen alien beings will leave our planet, and those people who now are degraded, who are very destructive, they also will leave this planet. So people will improve their lives, and they will be able to use all these technologies and artificial intelligence and direct them to the creative, constructive processes, improvement of their lives, planetary life. The next question from Inara from Japan. She asks if their artificial intelligence now can draw pictures, write novels, create avatars, and many other processes. So when it will replace people in hard works, and can it replace people in creative works? No, I can tell you that creative professions will stay. And on the contrary, creative people will be very needed and for society because even this will be in demand because the artificial intellect when it uh, creates something you see that it's more primitive, but humans have the creative force of the creator, the higher mind. So people who will pass and get over the final wave of the quantum transition, they will have much more expanded consciousness, and they will get from the pure higher torsion field through the thalamus and other brain centers, receive very developed information, expanded knowledge, more purest. So, of course, people will expand their possibilities and creative abilities, talents, and of course, people will go much far than their intelligence, artificial intelligence, and technologies. So for people, it's better not to rely on these technologies, but to expand their own abilities. And I see in general that in the future, people who lead a healthy lifestyle will survive the future hardships and the quantum transition. This is the first, the most important. Also, when people cleanse their physical bodies because they remove the toxins from their bodies, and thus high vibrational energy can enter their bodies much easier and fill their cells with much powerful energy particles and fields, and thus essential zones in the cells become much stronger, and the body becomes much stronger and improves the immunity. So it's very important to lead the healthy lifestyle, to cleanse the physical body from the toxins and poisons. Very important to expand the intellect and mind and creative abilities. Also to choose the profession and improve yourself in this activity in your profession. Because only the masters of their craft will live in the new world. Only such people will live after the quantum transition. A person who drinks alcohol, who smokes cigarettes, he is poisonous. And such people will leave this planet, this life, very quickly. They will not withstand the final high vibrational wave, flash of the quantum transition. So people who do this till this moment, you have no time to think. You should start work on yourself to cleanse your bodies right now, right today. Also, to get rid of parasites and give up the bad habits, because if you will not remove these toxins, poisons, parasites, it also radiates low vibrations. And if you have them inside, and for example, you will cleanse your body in correct way, or you will stop to eat food, then you will have very strong intoxication. That's why you need to carry out these procedures very right. So if you want to carry out some starvation, do this just 1 day per week. Drink only water or salad with olive oil and all the natural juices, and then it will help you to cleanse your body. And also study the information about parasites, because 93% of diseases are caused by parasites. It's very serious process, and it's very needed for every person to get rid of the parasites. And of course, for our learners, we have such helping processes, the methods that they apply to cleanse their bodies, and of course, they have their excellent results if they do this correctly. Of course, we apply herbs, herbal complexes, natural herbs, because they uh, destroy not only parasites but also different viruses, bacteria, infections, fungus that can be in the human body. And of course, they remove these toxins from the body. Also recommend another methods and remedies. For example, the hot blanket of Bolotov is also very useful method for cleansing of toxins through your skin. So there are a lot of methods. And now I want to emphasize again that talented people, creative people, professional people, skilled people, they will get over of all hardships, they will survive the final way of the quantum transition and will create a new creative state of life. The next question. Yelena asks, can you tell us the artificial intelligence is the alien inventions? Yes, friends. The next question. Sergei Arkadyevich didn't expect to such a quick reply. Yes, of course, all these technologies, computers, were not invented by humans. Do you think that humans in such a primitive state are capable to invent such a smartphone that even can detect your location and invent such technologies? When you sit with smartphone, your smartphone can define all the information about the nearest devices. Humans cannot create such technologies. Of course, alien beings gave these technologies to people, but I did not tell you about the roots of these processes. Remember when I told you about the Lucifer rebellion? Many beings, spiritual beings, became fallen because they followed the Lucifer, but many of them regretted and understood their mistake, and now those who became faithful, they also had very severe consequences. But when they overcome this, now they try to help our planet. And of course, they know because why do they need this? Because when one planet in the local system suffers or gets sick, and our planet is considered as the ill planet with the ill state of conscious. Of course, it infects the other planets in the cosmos and in the local system in the universe. And also, in the cosmos, there were such laws when more developed beings help less developed beings. And thus, this less developed planet can reach their high level. And the fallen alien beings also know about these laws of cosmos. Although they follow the laws of the Lucifer, fallen laws, but they are disconnected from the source of life. That's why they don't receive the energy of the Creator. That's why they need to find the new resources for themselves to survive. That's why they use the energy of your souls, because your souls are generators of the energy of life. That's why they need people to use their energy resources. And why they did not destroy and kill humanity till this time? Because they could do this, they have such technologies. They, friends, of course, they live on their own fallen laws, but they also understand that there are cosmic laws, divine laws. If they violate these laws, they will be destroyed instantly. They know they clearly. If you doubt in this, they know them for sure. That's why they try to provoke to make you make the wrong choice. To serve them, it means to generate low vibrational energy that they need. But of course, it's very easy for them to influence undeveloped people or fanatics. and they influence on you only through information and thoughts. And even the science proved that you are not capable to invent your own thoughts. You can just to connect to a different energy informational field and receive and process this information. And thus your thoughts are created. So of course that's why you need to delve into any information to analyze what you think. You can choose your thoughts. But of course, when someone tells that you are in a sect, when you're developing, expand your intellect, your consciousness, reveal your capabilities, when you learn to control your thoughts and your reality, it's not a sect. This is self development. So, if people don't know even this, of course, they live in a very primitive state. Uh, Sect and church, different religious organizations have another tasks, and I even don't want to tell about this, but you know their processes. They forbid people, they create very strict rules, and when I tell about them, they write so many comments because they are afraid of me, although they consider themselves as spiritual people. But I just tell the truth that they don't develop people. Yes, it's true. Yes, they just consider it a work. So of course they hate me because I tell the truth. But I love them. I understand them. Do you know, friends? When you understand one, every person acts like this because you can reply to yourself and explain this. You have no judgment. You just realize that the person lives in fear. He lives in a limited state. He doesn't believe in himself, in his strengths and possibilities, that he can do much more. But he cannot do this because he is afraid of everything. He lives in fear. So, of course, friends, I understand these people and I'm not offended by them. And in general, I don't have such a state as uh, resentments. I have just understanding. So I wish such people only self-development, self-cognition, and to go out from this matrix sphere, because many of them really live in such a sadness, fear, desperate, and they are very sick. They have a lot of diseases. So, my dear people, ask yourself the question: if you know the Bible by heart, by you don't have any happiness and health in life, only problems and sufferings, ask yourself, does the Creator want this in your life, this suffering? Although He lives in you, He wants to cognize Himself, to manifest Himself through your lives. He doesn't want this suffering. Suffering is the low vibrations. And he is the perfect, the creator who creates this life. And he doesn't need this suffering. He wants you to create your own wonderful life and then share with your experience with other people who come to you, to churches, with their own sufferings and diseases. And they ask the Creator so much to help them. And when you will tell them that now believe in your strength, in your abilities. You are not the slave of God, you are a child of God. So, yes, you can ask the Creator to help you, but first, do some good things to another person, help someone. So, ask yourself, help you and do you help another people? Do you forgive other people? Or maybe you have some grievances and don't share with other people, don't help them, and now you ask the help of God. So now forgive everyone because what you did in your thoughts, you do in your reality. So when you will tell people who come to churches these words, they will come even more, even often, because they come to churches for these good words, to these encourage phrases and your help. And you know that in the past, the churches were built in very strong energy places where high vibrational rays were collected, and at very high places or hills or mountains. And when people came to these churches, they received this very powerful energy field and help. And that's why churchmen, many of them have a very high head, and the crystals on these crowns, because the crystals hold a very energy vibrational structure, and they store information. And of course, such a person can have a more expanded energy informational field and receive more developed information. So this is the explanations to this process. And when you attack me, it doesn't harm me, but you just create more problems in your own lives. Because when you show some cruelness or scold me, you just feel even much worse. You create your own problems. So don't do this to yourself. I know that just tell the truth, and I know who I am, but you just create for yourself such a bad karma. So I'm not against the Bible. I also studied the source of knowledge. But I can tell you that it's just a little truthful information in that book. And many of another information just was written to confuse and delude people. So friends, I love you, and just feel my love and let the light in your souls will shine in you. So start over your life. There is such a movie, Our Home, the Astral City. There was such a phrase that was said to Luis Andre, the main character, that it's never late to start from the beginning. So the next question, Anastasia asks, where the soul of a person can develop more, in the city or in countryside, uh, beyond the boundaries of the city, and why it is easier to develop not in the big cities. I can tell you that both it's true and not really, because now many people become more sensitive, and they increased sensitivity allows them to perceive the destructive energy that now is everywhere in the environment. And of course, every person radiates his own energy. And when you are in a big city, more people radiate this energy. So you feel more deeper this destructive energies. And of course, now who radiate the creative energy? Just a few people in the world. And of course, friends, I live among you. I live in Ukraine. I really love my country, people who surround me, and I help them in everything. And people who are poor, who have lost everything. Of course, people who live in Kiev, they live in fears and they radiate these fears. And when you have increased sensitivity, you feel this fear and this mess, and of course it suppresses your psyche. So of course you cannot develop when you always feel this tension of destructive energy and fear. So yes, in small cities and small villages, it's easier for you to develop, but there is another problem there. People in small villages, small cities, they um, drink alcohol in mass because they always live in this fear, in panic, and to remove some stress because they live in war. And of course, they don't help themselves, they even bring closer the destruction and the day of the death. And it's also true, there is such a problem that people don't want to develop. But it's also true that when in the villages are less people, it's better for you, it's easier for you to develop because you feel less destructive energies. And I can tell you about the agricultural area and technologies, and you will see a lot of changes in the nearest future. And you will have, if you will have a small house in the village and you know how to grow your plants, vegetables, it will be easier for you to survive the nearest future years. And of course, people who are developing spiritually, I mean, reveal energy abilities because just one process when you grow your plants, but you also need to develop yourself. But yet, it's easier for you to live in small villages and cities. But there is another problem there. So it's your choice, friends. And the next question: where a person should start spiritual development and how to lead children to the spiritual development, because we don't have such a processes at schools. So, my dear Larissa, if you think that all spiritual schools consider themselves the spiritual schools, you can ask my learner from Sweden and other learners who visited different ashrams in India. And I cannot tell you that all these spiritual schools are spiritual, and not always they give exactly those knowledge that our modern people need. Many of these schools are stuck at the old, ancient Vedic knowledge and information that people had to receive at that time. But now, with the quantum transition, quantum transformations of life, of creating the new world and new space. So now I can tell you that you need to engage more in your development, not at such spiritual schools, but to study more scientific knowledge, scientific facts, and to develop from the standpoint of science, because our modern science has stepped very far. And these new technologies, even the quantum computer that is now invented, they are based on the science and very high knowledge. And the science knows what is the quantum mechanisms, quantum dynamics, and different quantum radiations, different frequencies of vibrations. So, friends, the science has stepped very far. So now this, yes, this information is not so widespread, but if you delve, if you search this information, you will find it. And of course, you need to learn how to work with your subtle bodies, with your consciousness, with your thoughts. And don't think that this is the sect. On the contrary, if you control your thoughts, you control yourself, and it means that you control your life. And there is no sect here. I don't see the logic in this. So your self-development starts from your healthy lifestyle, from your learning of the science, because you need to understand all this scientific knowledge and to process this information. And for this, you need to have the healthy brain, healthy mind. The brain that works only at 2-3% cannot understand this. Yes, you can read some books, but you will not decipher this information because the neurons are dead in such brain. So people who now relax with the help of alcohol, when sometimes someone said that they just remove stress, and my husband is not an alcoholic person, but every evening he drinks 50 gram of alcohol every evening. Even when I studied at the university to to become a psychologist, professor also taught us to drink 50 gram alcohol in the evening to relax our nervous system. And then, of course, I could not withstand this. I even told him about the documentary movie, The Alcoholic Experiment. So, what do you teach the students? Do you know that the alcohol is not removed from the female organism? Women become the alcoholic person during 2-3 years because the alcohol stays in her body and female body starts to work on this alcohol. So of course, to understand this knowledge, higher knowledge, you need to have more expanded intellect and consciousness. That's why you need to start on working on yourself and cleansing your body, working on your health. For this, you need to find and choose the teacher, those person who will be able to give you this higher knowledge and to explain them to you and not to delude you even more. And I see a lot of such information about different teachers. I met such people who called themselves the teachers, they wrote books, but they just tried to explain with incomprehensible phrases those processes that they could not understand themselves. But they, some of them told that a person grew a new leg during one night, so you can believe me because I did this. So they explained some knowledge that was completely incomprehensible for people, but such a person also had some learners, but they could not understand him. They stayed uh, ill people. They lived in the same problems. I knew about this because then they came to me and told me about this teacher. And although every word has a meaning, and even very um, difficult and very complicated knowledge can be explained in simple way, and only a person who is limited in information and knowledge, who even cannot explain these names and understanding of this knowledge to himself, he cannot explain it with a simple words and phrases that will be comprehensible for people. But they invent different terms that people don't understand. For example, what is inclusive processes of environment? That person need to search in the internet the explanations to this term because we can tell that it's just the mental disorders. So the science works in such a way that not always understandable for people. But I really want you to start from studying of the scientific knowledge about quantum physics, about accelerating of time, changing of the elementary uh, particles, protons, electrons, how the density of our space has changed, about the third and fourth dimension of our reality. These phrases are comprehensible for you, so find the explanations of them. But you really need to search for a teacher. When the learner is ready, then he will find a teacher. But when a person is not ready to learning, what does it mean? It means when a person did not overcome his vices, material attachments, a person is envious, blames uh, someone, tries to find someone to blame for his problems. If he is lazy, don't want to work, just want to live using other people, live like a parasite, then he's not ready to the real spiritual development because he leads like oncological state of life, and he has the same inner state. That's why he is not ready to develop. But when a person experienced enough suffering, then a person starts to search, he starts to work on himself, then he is searching at the internet, and he will be given the information, he will be given the teacher. And thus my learners tell me very often that just once I watched your video and I understood that you are my teacher. It means that the soul tells you this and has this resonance. But sometimes people don't feel this. Sometimes people come and tell me that take me instantly at the second level because I've read so many books and don't offer me the basic course or the first level. Although the person is very educated but have a lot of problems in family, with health, with job, with other people. Although I very developed and read so many books, although this person has so unhappy life. So such people cannot be my learners because they live in egoism, pride, and vanity. And do you know how I teach my learners? The higher you raise, the lower you should express yourself among other people, and you should show them your own example, how they need to live. And you need to use every moment of your life to awake the soul of other people and to help them and to guide them through these stages of their transformations to the new happy life and to help them to survive this nearest future stage of life. This is who you should be. And when you just show your egoism, then you have this in your life and the results of your life. And you see the results in your life. This is how it is. Friends, now I looked at the watch and we're conducting our live broadcast for 1 hour and a half. Now I work in a lot courses, private consultations, so a little tired. So now I think that we need to end our broadcast. But after 1 hour, I work in meditation, in joint meditation with the whole world and my learners. Every evening we work in practices that allow us to be healthy, developed, kind, open, honest, and frank people, to be people of the future. But I will allow Sergei Arkadyevich to voice the last question, although because I see his thoughts that he has the final question that he wanted to voice. So the last question, Sergei Arkadyevich. It is possible to have such a situation in the future that humanity will give the control of themselves to their artificial intellect by their own choice, and people just will be engaged in creative activity. Friends, if you are observant, you see that many governments introduce such processes. First steps started of controlling humanity, and it could be, I see this, there is such information about the future, and I can tell you that introducing, implementing such processes in the nearest future with certain purposes. And when the humanity uh, will stay at the edge of their life, when it will perishing completely, only then the higher forces will interfere. So they will help you, they will save you. And even now they help you, but at the same time they don't violate your free will, the right to choose. But till that period of time, only people will be alive, will live on the planet, who will radiate the high vibrations. And of course, very developed spiritual beings will protect such people. Now they also are present on the planet, but you cannot see them, and they're engaged in many other planetary processes. And now is still the process of selection of people, when people can choose the path of degradation or the path of development, take the side of the light, self-development, evolution, expanding of consciousness. There are such people because there are people, for example, who are watching our videos but don't act, don't start the development. So there is time for such people so that they will make their choice. And of course, the light forces, spiritual beings will have such people and will give new technologies, will introduce the new processes of life. And the age of Aquarius, this is the age of new technologies, new information and knowledge that will open to people a new perspective of life. And I thank you, my friends, that you were with me during this streaming and asked me such wonderful questions. And if I managed to fill you with my energy, with my love, and to adorn your life, at least a little, I thank the Creator and you. Up to new meetings, friends. We will meet soon. So study, develop, and adorn, improve your lives, and save your souls. Goodbye, friends.